Well, it could happen any moment. We are awaiting a decision from a grand jury in Missouri whether or not to pursue charges against police officer Darren Wilson in the shooting death of Michael Brown. The August shooting led to more than 100 days of protest in and around the city of Ferguson, and the latest over the weekend as demonstrators laid on the ground to play dead, and you see that right here. These protests far less violent than the angry mobs we saw just days after Brown's death, but police fear that violence could return if the grand jury decides not to pursue charges. Joining me now from St. Louis, Executive Director of the Black Sphere, Kevin Jackson. Good morning to you, Kevin.
Good morning.
What are we bracing for here?
Well, the left would certainly like that all these different powder kegs, as we've called them, would erupt about Ferguson, because they're invested in it. They want a couple days notice because they're going to be loading up paid protesters, and they've got people out that you just described over the weekend, essentially creating nonsense and effectively terrorizing the community of Ferguson. There are people that want to go back to work. They want the disruption to disappear, but unfortunately there's too much money invested in it on the other side.
Why businesses? Why are they the target?
Well, there's no reason, and you know what's really funny about this is that you've had Barack Obama, who's had a secret meeting or unscheduled meeting with the various people from Ferguson. They call them the Ferguson leaders at the White House. But I don't think Barack Obama's talked to the Zisser family, whose tire shop got broken into, or the lady who invested her life savings in the donut shop that was right down the street from the Ferguson riots. He's not made those phone calls. But what he will do is he tells those people to stay the course.
Yeah, and you know, when you read Stay the Course, I believe that meeting took place on November 5th. That wasn't formally on the President or White House schedule. What does he mean by stay the course? And this is before we actually have word on this jury.
Yeah, well, stay the course to Barack Obama means stay the course of fomenting hatred and racism, because he's only going to look at this through one side. What's already leaking out, Elizabeth, is the idea that Darren Wilson did his job, shot a kid, unfortunately, did what it took that led to his own demise. But that narrative doesn't play very well for what Barack Obama wants to do. He is all about racism. There's so much money in it. My latest book is called Race Pimping, the multi-trillion-dollar business of liberalism, because that's what this is about. This community is an amazing community, and there are people, Elizabeth, setting up cop watch organizations in Ferguson, Missouri. It's almost it's incredulous to believe that.
Kevin, you know, and I remember Barack Obama then saying this is not black America, not white America, it's United States of America. I remember those words quite clearly, but yet what I'm hearing from you is that this violence, stay the course in terms of protests, and what will, I believe we're all fearing happen perhaps in these moments ahead and days ahead, this completes a narrative that liberals and this administration are in favor of?
Sure. They would love for things like this to continue, because that's what Barack Obama's presidency's been built on. Look, there's been nothing done in the black community by Barack Obama. You look at any statistical evidence around this or statistical data, and you'll find that Barack Obama has not improved anything for blacks in America. So unfortunately, this is the only thing he has to manufacture. He has to manufacture hatred. He has to manufacture disruption, and that's the only thing that's going to work for him.
So what would be, in your mind, a proper response?
The proper response would be for him to come out and say, look, guys, this is a tragedy, but it is not going to rise to the level of us having to worry about, violence breaking out all across America. We're going to clamp down on it. I can tell you this: I don't think Barack Obama's made a single phone call to the Republican mayor of Ferguson, to the chief of police, or to Darren Wilson's family.
Well, we will certainly look into that as well. We want to thank you for being with us. Kevin Jackson of the Black Sphere, shooting straight with us today on a serious topic, and we are awaiting that decision. Thank you.
My pleasure.